Every now and again on this YouTube channel you do get comments a bit like this one that pop up. A few comments actually, to be fair, who often question, do I know what I'm talking about in regards to Gaelic games, Gaelic football, hurling and GAA? Well, look, I certainly wouldn't claim to know absolutely everything because that would be very silly of me, and I am just a regular GAA fan and obviously haven't won multiple All-Irelands and certainly don't have the type of accolade that you may see on places like the Sunday Game and everything else, but I have put my neck on the line time and time again doing GAA predictions. I mean, I've predicted leagues, All-Irelands, even did a recent video predicting every club senior football championship, which was a lot of fun to make and certainly did cause a bit of a stir down in the comments down below. But obviously, mostly positive, and that is very, very much appreciated. But in today's video, I was kind of thinking, and there was a comment from Dave Michaels on a recent post I put out asking some of you lads what type of content you would like to see on the YouTube channel over the next couple of months, and someone said, or Dave Michaels said, you should make a video reacting to all your GAA predictions from 2022, and I thought, you know what, it would be pretty fun to go back and have a look at some of my GAA predictions from this year, see which ones I got right, see do I actually know what I'm talking about, or am I just full of Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but anyway, let's have a look at all our GAA predictions, my GAA predictions from 2022, here we go. What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron, and as I said in the intro there, we're going to be looking back at all my GAA predictions from 2022, seeing which ones I got right, seeing which ones I got wrong, and we might even have a look at some of your comments as well on some of those videos and see if anyone did accurately predict what would happen in the All-Ireland, the Tailteann Cup, and, All-Ireland, both football, hurling, and the National Leagues as well. So there's 50 predictions in total. We're going to look at all the predictions from the National Football League, including promotion, relegation. We're going to be looking at predictions from the not from the National Hurling League, because I didn't predict the National Hurling League for some reason, but I did predict the All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship. We're going to be looking at my predictions there, my provincial winners, the sides I predicted to get out of the round robin, and the All-Ireland winners and finalists, and the same again for the All-Ireland. Who did I predict to reach the provincial finals, to win the provincial championships, and also reach the All-Ireland final and win the All-Ireland itself? So it's going to be a long video. It might get a little bit complicated at times, but 50 predictions in total. Absolutely insane stuff. I'll tell you what, let's start with my National Football League predictions, and let's look at who I picked for promotion from Division 4. In fourth, I've gone for Tipperary, and Tipperary is a hard one to judge because, you know, you're looking at a team that won the Munster Football Championship in 2020, in late 2020, which realistically wasn't that long ago. It was only... Yeah, I definitely got this prediction wrong. Obviously, Tipperary got promoted from Division 4, and I mean, look, going into Division 4, it was a hard one to predict with them. We didn't really know where they were at. They were quite poor last season, and they actually started the league quite poorly as well. They drew at Waterford and then lost to London, so, you know, Tipperary could have finished they could have finished first in the end. Obviously, they won. Did they win Division 4? No, they didn't win Division 4. It was Cavan who won Division 4. But, you know, Tipperary, in the end, look, they got promoted. They achieved what a lot of people did expect for them. I wasn't convinced. And yeah, straight off the bat, we've got one prediction wrong. I had Tipperary in fourth. Who did I have in second, though? That'll be interesting. It's just about performing on the pitch, being consistent, and if they get a bad defeat, they need to respond to it the next week, not let that defeat kind of hang over them. So, look, I think Shane Roach has done a good job there since he's come in. It was a very tough job to take over from, and I was very impressed with Wexford last year. So, I've got them in third. I just think Leitrim will have a bit more, to be honest, especially with Andy Moran coming in there. And like I like the look of Leitrim going into 2022, you know, last promoted back in 2019. And I think that's the thing as well with this Leitrim team is they do have experience. Yeah, definitely got that one wrong. I mean, putting Leitrim in there, do you know what? I backed Leitrim in 2021 to get promoted as well, and they let me down. Do you know what? I think Leitrim are improving. I think there is some significant improvement there under Andy Moran. Maybe it was just a little bit premature. They just weren't quite ready. So yeah, I had Leitrim in second. I did have Cavan in first, which was the obvious prediction. And I did predict Cavan to win the National League, to win the Division 4 title, which they did. So it leaves me with 2 out of 3 predictions right. So I predicted Cavan to win Division 4. They did so, and they got promoted. I think that was a very obvious prediction, to be fair. 2 out of 3 to begin with. Not too bad, but yeah, let's move on anyway to Division 3. Division 3 is a hard one to call. It really, really is. Like, I think, you know, you're looking at Westmeath surely are going to get promoted here with how well they played last year and some of the talent that they have. But then other than that, like, there's a lot of teams here that I think would be happy just to stay in Division 3. This is going to be a very open division. Like, a lot of teams are going to be beating each other. And it could be one of them mad divisions where you've like 3 points separating second and seventh or something crazy like that. But to be fair, I was quite right with that one, wasn't I? I mean, this division was completely nuts. I mean, you had everyone kind of beating everyone. We're obviously not going to count that prediction, but, you know, nice to see that I kind of had a bit of foresight there, to be fair. We'll run through it anyway. In 8th, I've gone for Wicklow. Davy Burke obviously stepped down there last year. They've brought Colin Kelly in as manager. Don't know a whole lot about Colin Kelly, but he done a good job with Louth, and, you know, he does have experience in terms of inter-county management. Alright, okay, we got the Wicklow one right in the end. And they did finish bottom, I think, as well, from what I remember. So, to be fair, we got that one right, so that brings me up with 3 out of 4 predictions correct. Not too bad. Who did I predict to get relegated alongside them, though? That's the big question. And Antrim is a hard team to call, in all honesty, and I've got them in 7th, but I could, you know, I have a sneaky feeling I could really be wrong with this one. Yeah, yeah, I was definitely wrong with that one. I mean, Antrim were actually quite close to promotion in the end. I mean, Antrim had a very, very good season, in my opinion. You know, like the fact that they were very close to promotion after being promoted the season previous. Paddy Cunningham obviously retires as well. I think Ed McGinley done a very, very good job with Antrim. Yeah, I was definitely wrong with this one. And 4th, they've gone for Laois, and again, you know, this is another county that's, you know, in massive disarray in many ways at the minute. I mean, they're a hard one to call. They really are, because relegated from Division 2 last year, plenty of quality within the team. As we very well know, Laois were the other side who got relegated alongside Wicklow. I had them in 4th, so, you know, I think with Laois there was a lot of, you know, it was a weird one with Laois, because in pre-season they actually looked quite good. Like, they beat Meath, they got themselves to the pre-season final. Obviously they played Dublin in the final and got beat, but, you know, Laois were looking alright, and there was a kind of a sense maybe that, right, last season was quite terrible in terms of Division 2, obviously getting relegated, but there had a couple of good players in there, and whilst there was a bit of turmoil and a bit of, you know, questionable sort of decisions going on in Laois football, I still felt like they'd have enough to stave off relegation, not necessarily get promoted, but stave off relegation. But I was absolutely wrong. I mean, they started the season well, and they folded like an absolute book. I mean, it was a dreadful season for Laois, and a bad prediction there by me. So I think Limerick will have enough. Looking at their home games, Longford, Louth, Westmeath and Fermanagh, and they're away to Laois, away to Wicklow, and away to Antrim. So yeah, I think Limerick will have enough to be up there in the promotion battle, but I just think Louth are just a little bit ahead at the minute. You know, I think Mickey Hart is building really, really well there. They were very impressive last year. They won every game in Division 4. They nearly beat Offaly as well in the Leinster Championship. You know, you've got a top quality forward in Samuel Roy, who now plays a number 10 as opposed to in the full forward line. You've got Kieran Downey, Kieran Keenan, To be fair, I got the Louth prediction absolutely spot on. In fact, I was probably one of the very few people that backed Louth to get promoted, and it was a bit of a bold prediction at the time, to be honest, because they just come up from Division 4. But having seen, you know, Samuel Roy close up a couple of times, having seen Mickey Hart and what he's achieved as a manager, I just always felt like there's not going to be much between these teams. And if Louth can build a bit of momentum, get a couple of results on the board, maybe find a couple more scores and maybe develop a little bit further, I felt like they had a real chance. And, that was one of the reasons why I backed them. And look, I got that prediction right. Unfortunately, as you can see, I have Limerick in third, who were the other side who got promoted. So I was close, but not close enough. And as I said, Westmeath in first. Look, I think Jack Cooney has Westmeath going in the right direction. I watched a lot of Westmeath football last year. They started out quite defensive in their first 2 games in the league against both Meath and Mayo, but very nearly won either of those games. Like, they're a very well coached team. They stick to the game plan, and they're one of them teams that they looked like, they weren't just defending for the sake of it. They looked like they had something to defend, and they nearly came out with big wins. And we could have nearly been looking at Westmeath as a side in Division 1 this year. And I know that sounds crazy, but Westmeath. Yeah, I mean, look, I think everyone pretty much had Westmeath. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people backed Westmeath. I mean, they won the Tailteann Cup, so technically they are the best team out of all the Division 3 and 4 sides. Although if Louth or Limerick had been in the Tailteann Cup this year, maybe they would have won it, who knows. But, Westmeath, just very disappointed in the end. Finished third. Look, they won the Tailteann Cup, so I think in the end, their season's been a good one. And, they don't need, they'll be in the All-Ireland for definite next year and in the qualifiers at a very minimum should they need to be in there. So I think all in all, it has still been a great season for Westmeath, but I'm not going to lie, they did let me down with this league prediction, because not only did I back them for promotion, I also backed them for the Division 3 title as well, which was quite disappointing. So in terms of the promotion race, I got the Louth prediction right, but it was the only prediction I got right, unfortunately. So 1 out of 3 there. So we've 4 out of 8 predictions right so far, which, 50%. I'll tell you what, let's have a look through some of the comments of that video and see, did anyone get a little bit closer with their predictions? Sir Klopp, big, we see his comments quite a lot on this channel, so shout out to him. And yeah, Westmeath and Fermanagh as promotion, which I suppose you got 2 of them wrong. Fermanagh, yeah, that was a bold one. Relegation, you did get correct though. You predicted Laois and Wicklow to get promoted, and you got the promotion correct from Division 4 in Cavan Tipperary. So I suppose, yeah, that would put you on the same predictions as me so far, I guess. Well, we don't know who you predicted as your winners, but look, you did all right there. You backed Cavan Tipperary, and you correctly predicted that Laois would go down, so fair play there. Jack Nolte says Longford ahead of Limerick and Laois turmoil Y ahead of Longford. Yeah, you were absolutely spot on there. I completely got that one wrong, and yeah, fair play to Longford. I mean, look, I did back them for survival originally. I did think they'd have enough to stay up, but yeah, look, they beat Laois obviously towards the end of the season, didn't they? Or they beat them in the championship, I think. So, I think for Longford, in the end, look, fair play to them. Better team than Laois right now, you'd have to say. So let's move on to my predictions from Divisions 1 and 2. Starting off with Division 2's relegation. Who did I predict to get relegated from Division 2? Start off with the 8th position, and I've gone for Down. Look, I think Down have plenty of good players and plenty of good talent in there. I just think the nature of Division 2 this year is extremely tough in terms of the teams that are coming up from Division 3 are very good, and some of the teams coming down from Division 1 are very good, so it's going to be very tough for Down. Yeah, I was spot on there, thankfully enough, and I don't think this was a hard one, really. I think a lot of people could see what was going on in Down. You can see some of the problems from last season. I think they were very lucky to stay up in 2021. I didn't think they'd be as bad as what they were, to be honest. Like, I still felt like they'd get a win on the board. I still felt like they'd be a lot more competitive than they were. And I still felt like James McCartan would get a bit more out of Down. Sort of more as the season went on, we'd start to see a bit of improvement. Was completely wrong. Down have been even worse than I thought in regards to that. I mean, they got relegated, lost I think every game in league and championship, which has been absolutely dreadful. Lost in the Tailteann Cup as well. James McCartan's now stepped away. Yeah, Conor Lafferty coming in. For any Down fans watching, what do you think about that one? But yeah, I was right about this one. But who did I predict to go down with Down? Sorry for the pun there. And in 7th, I've gone for Offaly. Look, in terms of the relegation battle in Division 2, I think it will be between Offaly, Clare, maybe Cork might get dragged in there as well, but I think Cork should have enough to comfortably steer clear of relegation. I do think it will be between Offaly and Clare, and I think we finally get our first sort of set of predictions right in terms of predicting accurately who would actually get relegated. And again, Offaly and Down were very obvious candidates. I think some people were looking at Clare maybe as potentially going down, but obviously in the end they stayed up quite comfortably. And yeah, look, Offaly in the end, look, they went down with a fight, which I did think would happen because I do think there's a good bit of fight in their side. And I think all in all, Offaly won't be too disappointed with how their year went. But yeah, look, I got this prediction right. Thank God, we're finally moving up in our predictions. So we're now 6 out of 10 predictions correct. So we're up to 60%. That's not too bad. But who did I predict for promotion? Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to this one, but let's have a look. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very close between Roscommon, Galway, and Derry. Talking about Roscommon first of all, because I've got them in third. Consistently switching around their backroom team, but I don't think really helps in all. Yeah, we can straight away count away the fact that I obviously didn't predict Roscommon to get promoted. Which I don't know why, because I was quite, I was very, I praised Roscommon quite a lot this year as the league went on, and I had a lot of hope for them. Maybe Roscommon's weird, like when I seem to praise them, they start to get worse, but when I sort of disregard them, they start to surprise me. I don't really know what's going on there. Maybe Anthony Cunningham's tuning in and he's getting ready to prove me wrong. I don't know. Probably not, to be fair. Probably not. But yeah, I backed Roscommon in third, which, yeah, not the best prediction there by me. I think we'll see some of those under-20 footballers come in, like Matthew Tierney, Tom O'Culhan, more game time for Jack Lynn, and some of the other lads in there as well. Maybe Peter Cook, we'll get more game time as well. So Desi Keneally as well looks like a top player. And look, I think the main thing is keeping Shane Walsh and Damien Comer fit for when the All-Ireland Championship comes around. Well, look, at least I got Galway's promotion correct. At least that's something anyways. And they did bring through a lot of under-20 lads. They certainly did try out a lot of younger players. And they did get promoted in the end. They obviously didn't win the division title, but obviously there's a team in Division 2 that we know didn't get promoted that I predicted to come first. Derry obviously had a brilliant year, but I was probably a little bit premature in terms of predicting them to get promoted. I mean, they weren't far away, and there was a lot of people that discounted Derry completely, but yeah, I had them in first. 1 out of 3 predictions correct there. That brings me to 7 out of 13 predictions correct so far. I don't know what the percentage is there. I'm not good at maths, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely not my strong suit there. But look, we'll get on to Division 1. Surely my predictions in Division 1 are going to be better. Oh, they definitely aren't, because Dublin are in there, and I definitely didn't predict them to get relegated. Yeah, so let's have a look at what we said about Division 1 divisions. But yeah, in 8th we've gone for Kildare. Look, they have a new manager in Glenn Ryan, a bit of a dream team with Anthony Rainbow, Johnny Doyle and Dermot Earley. It kind of reminds me in Football Manager. You look at this division, I actually don't see where they're going to win any games. I really don't. I think this would be a bit like when Meath came up there a few years ago. I think they'll give good performances, and I think they'll play well, and I think they'll be competitive. But I just struggle to see where they're going to win any games. Like Kerry at home first of all, then Donegal and Tyrone away, Dublin home, Armagh away, Monaghan home, Mayo away. Very tough to see. Maybe Monaghan at home, they might win that one. Oh. Do you know what the worst thing about this is? I'm wearing a Dublin jersey in this video, and I'm saying I just don't see where Kildare are going to win any games. They won one game, and it was against Dublin. I mean, fuck this shit, man. I'm out of here. I did accurately predict that Kildare would get relegated, though. I did say they'd finish 7th and not 8th, but I did predict they'd get relegated, so we did get something right there. And actually, Kildare beat Monaghan actually as well, to be fair, didn't they? So they actually finished with 2 wins and a draw, and were actually very competitive, to be fair. So I definitely wrote them off quite a bit, but they did get relegated, so I did get that prediction right. But the question is, we know Dublin finished bottom, and we know they got relegated. Did I predict them to get relegated? Definitely not. So who did I predict to go down with Kildare? In terms of the relegation battle, I think it will be between Monaghan and Armagh. There are a few teams maybe who could get dragged in here as well. But I suppose looking at Monaghan, first of all, they've been on the slide for a while, in the National Football League. They've seemingly seemed to keep finding a way to avoid relegation. They're probably the masters of the Great Escape, and that completely stayed the same. Monaghan again managed to find a way to avoid relegation, beating Dublin on the final day as well. So this prediction really did come back to bite me here, bite me in the face, biting me everywhere. But yeah, 7th I predicted Monaghan. They stayed up in the end. If Dublin had hung on when Dean Rock scored that penalty, I would have been right. But yeah, so out of these 2 predictions here, I got 1 correct, 1 wrong. Puts me to 8 out of 14. Yeah, not so good there. But in terms of the league final and the 2 teams that got into the top 2, let's see who I predicted there. And again, we haven't seen where I predicted Dublin yet. And this is a bad prediction now. And third, I've gone for Mayo. I think with Mayo, it's interesting because they won't actually be playing any of their games in McHale Park, which is under construction. And we've seen Mayo at home are such a tough team to beat when you play them down there. I love how I took the Dublin jersey off here. I mean, what on earth happened? Did I suddenly just... I don't know how this happened, but maybe because I was about to start to speak about Mayo and Tyrone that I felt like, I better cover up this Dublin jersey. I don't know. But anyway, I had Mayo in third. And they actually finished in the top 2 in the end. So it wasn't far away. I definitely gave Mayo a lot more credit than a lot of other people did. But yeah, I did get this one wrong, unfortunately. In terms of the top 2, and the main reason why I think Dublin will finish in second ahead of Mayo is, well, I suppose first of all, Dublin will play 3 games in Croke Park, which will be huge for them. But we've seen with Dublin down the years, and in particular under Desi Farrell, they do have this knack of grinding out wins in the league. They have a knack of grinding out matches and finding a way to win games. And yeah, that we definitely completely lost that, didn't we? I mean, we lost 6 out of 8 league games. We actually completely forgot that habit that we used to have, which was finding ways to win games. And as we know, Dublin did get relegated. I feel like maybe I should deduct myself a point here because of this prediction, but yeah, obviously that's just how it goes. So Dublin, I predicted them to get in the league final. Surely I didn't predict them to win the league though, did I? I can't remember. Surely I did predict Kerry. And Kerry then in first, and the main reason being is Kerry just seem to have this knack of doing so well in the league in the past couple of years, and I don't think that's going to change for Jack O'Connor. I think they've probably got the best, the biggest sort of depth in their squad in terms of quality, in terms of players on the bench and players that they can bring in. And Kerry probably have the luxury at the minute of being able, a bit like Dublin maybe a few years ago, where Kerry can maybe change their forward line and the quality won't drop as much. And then in terms of who will win the league, in Croke Park, Kerry and Dublin. I think Kerry will win this one. We'll give this one to Kerry because they need something anyways. They need to win something at some stage, don't they? So I think they'll win this one. And yes, they won the league 2 years ago. Yeah, they won that, and they won a Connacht champion or a Munster championship. But I'm just joking, just messing around. But anyway, yeah, Kerry I think will win this one. I think they'll win the league. Well, at least I was right about that. At least I did predict Kerry to win the league. Saves me a little bit because I got one side relegated correct, and I obviously got Kerry being in the league final and winning the league final. So in total there, out of the sides in the league final, 2 out of 3 predictions correct, brings me to 10 out of 17 predictions, which I guess isn't the worst. It doesn't sound too bad. Again, predicting Dublin to get in the league final, not so good, but yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah, there were my predictions for the National Football League. Let's now have a look at my predictions for the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. So just a reminder here then, we'll be looking through who I predicted to reach the provincial finals and win the provincial final, and then also we'll be predicting who I predicted to win the All-Ireland and obviously make the final in the process. So in total, we have provincial winners, provincial finalists. We have the All-Ireland winners and All-Ireland finalists. So what does that bring us to? That brings us to we have provincial finalists and provincial winners. So in total then it'd be 3 predictions per province, which would bring us to 12. And then also the All-Ireland, the final and the finalists. So 15 predictions in total to get through here in the All-Ireland Football Championship. Let's see how many I got right. Look, Dublin should still win the Leinster Championship, let's be honest. I do think Kildare have a massive chance, and it wouldn't be that big of a surprise if Kildare beat Dublin and won the Leinster Championship. I think they've got a serious chance. I do think they are the best 2 teams in Leinster, and if they don't play each other in the Leinster Championship, then somewhere along the line has been beaten or been shocked or whatever. I do think it is the 2 best teams in the province. Look, I think with Dublin, They've had a very poor league campaign. 5 defeats in the league, 6 defeats in their last 8 games in total.
Yeah, so just a reminder here that we didn't know, because of the Leinster Senior Football Championship, they do the semi-final draw after, once we know who the teams are in the semi-finals, and it was Dublin and Kildare who got into the final, and it was actually Dublin and Kildare I predicted to get into the final, and I did actually predict Dublin to win the Leinster Championship. To be fair, look, this is a very easy prediction. I think if I did predict Dublin not to win the Leinster Championship, I think I would have been exiled from the county, do you know that way? Like, I think there would have been people coming up to where I live and literally carrying me out on a stretcher, get me out of Dublin, bring me back to, I don't know, bring me back nowhere. Maybe I should leave the country. But look, thankfully I got that one right. So 3 out of 3 predictions so far correct in the in the All Ireland Championship. That's a great start. But this is the Leinster Championship. Let's not forget that. So yeah, in total it brings me up to 13 out of 20 predictions correct. Do you know what? This is actually starting to look all right for me. But yeah, let's see what province did we predict next. Let's see.
I think for Galway, they do have defensive issues. We've all seen that this year. I think they have improved defensively as the league has gone on. But I could see Mayo causing them a couple of problems. I could see Ryan O'Donoghue doing his thing. With Mayo being at home, I think they'll have enough and they'll beat Galway. Then you have the Connacht final of Roscommon versus Mayo, according to my prediction. Ooh, look, Roscommon, they've had a brilliant year, haven't they? And still unbeaten at this point. They'll now be unbeaten in 9 games in total. That will definitely stand to them going into this game. Can the Rossies do something special and win a first Connacht title since 2019? If they are, Enda Smith is going to have a big game as always. 3-9 this year from him, 35 points from Conor Cox this year, 131 from Donny Smith. Is this, maybe Cillian O'Connor starts this one, maybe this is where he starts to make an impact. You'd have to imagine that some of the Mayo players will be back from in.
I backed Mayo to beat Galway. Definitely might earn me a bit of credit for the Mayo supporters, but yeah, one thing is for certain, I definitely haven't praised Galway much in this video, to be honest. So we can definitely count ourselves getting a lot wrong about Galway in terms of them obviously reaching the All Ireland final. And I didn't predict them to get to the Connacht final. As we know, not only did they get to the Connacht final, they also won the championship as well. So yeah, so I backed Mayo to win the Connacht championship. Completely got that one wrong. Definitely given Mayo maybe a bit too much credit than I should have at the start of the season. Even though they were hammered in the league, I still felt like they'd have players back from injury and they'd still have enough to come through Galway and Roscommon. But I was completely wrong. So yeah, out of the 3 predictions there, I got 1 correct, which was Mayo getting to the Connacht final. But as we know, Galway got to the Connacht final and won it. So not so good there. It brings us to 14 out of 23 predictions correct. All of a sudden, that predictions score is not looking too good. But surely in the Munster Championship, I got things right. I mean, Jesus, if you didn't predict Kerry to win Munster, I mean, I'd just question life, I think. Yeah, long story short, I backed Clare to reach the Munster final. I mean, look, Clare had a great season in the end. They reached the quarter-finals, so I wasn't wrong. They reached the All-Ireland quarter-finals. I wasn't wrong in predicting them to do well in the championship. And look, if they had beat Limerick, I mean, they lost to Limerick on penalties. I think they would have beaten Tipperary. So I was very, very close to getting this one right, but unfortunately, I did get it wrong. I obviously backed Kerry to win Munster and get to the final. So 2 out of 3 predictions correct there.
I think Tyrone won't be at their best. Peter Hart is going to be missing. Matty Donnelly's missing. A lot of players opting out. I don't think Conor McKenna's going to be around for this one either. So I think Tyrone might, looking at sort of their schedule in Ulster, I think they will get caught somewhere. Players in Shane McGuigan, Conor Glass, Emmett Bradley, these kind of lads, very, very good players. But I think Tyrone, I do think this is a step up for Derry. And when we've seen Derry play teams of higher quality in Galway and Roscommon, they haven't been able to get over the line. So I think Tyrone will have enough here. I do think this will be a step up. I think Darren McCurry will step up in this one.
Off the bat, I predicted Tyrone to beat Derry, and I did have I'm pretty sure I go on to say now in a minute that I do have my reservations about Tyrone. I didn't expect them to have a great year, to be honest. I just had one of them feelings that they wouldn't do quite well. But I didn't think it would be as bad as it was, and I definitely underestimated Derry in the end. I mean, as you've seen in my league prediction, I thought they'd finish first and get promoted. I thought they'd have a very good league but underwhelming championship, and it was actually the complete opposite in the end. And actually, to be fair, they actually had a good league as well, to be fair. Like, they finished third, you know, which wasn't bad. But yeah, I did predict Derry to get knocked out, so we know straight away 2 predictions wrong. Who did I predict to get to the Ulster final, though? That is the big question. So let's see what I said. I also predicted Antrim to beat Cavan, which thankfully enough we're not taking any score away for that one, but that has to be one of the worst predictions of this season. I mean, Cavan absolutely slaughtered Antrim left, right and centre, and Big John McMahon definitely still giving me a bit of stick for that one. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was predicting there.
Donegal versus Monaghan in the Ulster final. Now, that's certainly not an Ulster final that I would have predicted maybe a couple of weeks or months ago. But yeah, here it is. You know, a repeat of what, the 2013 final, was it 2011 as well, or 2015, or one of them years. Obviously Monaghan, when they won both their Ulster titles, they obviously played Donegal en route to winning both of them, I think it was. Can they make it a third Ulster title in the last 10 years or so, give or take? I don't think so. I think Donegal will have enough here narrowly. I think Monaghan, whilst beating Tyrone, will be a huge surprise and a big achievement for them. And maybe you'd feel that if they could beat Tyrone, then surely they could beat Donegal. But I just think in an Ulster final, with a lot of pressure at stake, with a lot to play for, I think Donegal are going to turn up. I do think the injury status of Michael Murphy is going to be key. I think Paddy McBrearty is going to step up. You're looking at Conor and Shane O'Donnell, who've done very well. Brendan McCall's done all right defensively for Donegal. Their style of play is quite questionable at times, and I think that could be an issue further down the line. But I think Donegal are going to win an Ulster title, and they're going to win their first Ulster title since 2019.
So I predicted Monaghan and Donegal to reach the Ulster final, and I predicted Donegal to win the Ulster Championship. I was definitely one of the very few people who predicted Donegal to win the Ulster Championship, and I wasn't far away. I mean, I just thought they'd have enough to beat Armagh, which they did, obviously at home in Ballybuffet, which we know they've a very, very good record, and you know, I thought they'd have enough to beat either Cavan or Antrim, which they did as well. So it wasn't inconceivable that they'd reach an Ulster final, and I just thought they'd have enough. I definitely underestimated Derry to have the season that they had, and I mean, Derry and Donegal went to extra time, so I wasn't a million miles away. Unfortunately, I got it wrong. So yeah, we got 1 out of 3 predictions right here in terms of predicting Donegal to reach the Ulster final. But obviously Derry reached the Ulster final and won the championship as well. So it brings me to 17 out of 29 predictions accurately predicted there. So it's starting to look a little iffy, but let's see who I predicted for the All-Ireland.
I don't see Dublin doing anything of significance, so I don't think they'll be winning any All-Irelands this year, sadly. I hope I'm wrong. You know, when I do these prediction videos, I do them off, you know, I think objectively. I don't go off what I want to happen. But yeah, I just don't see it. Too many defensive problems. We might string in the odd good performance here and there, but I just don't see it. You know, you can't go from losing 5 out of your 7 league games to all of a sudden turning things around and winning the All-Ireland. They have the quality in terms of players. We know that in Fenton, Kilkenny, Cormac Costello, these players, but I just don't see it. Things haven't been right this year. So yeah, Dublin won't do anything significant in the All-Ireland series. Look, we'll get straight into it, and who do we think is going to win the All-Ireland? Because that's the big kind of question here. And obviously semi-finals, we kind of have an idea of what's going to happen, but again, it is based off quarter-finals. I do think it's between 3 teams. I think it is between Kerry, Mayo and Tyrone. I think they are, for me, the 3 favourites for the All-Ireland.
I didn't even predict Galway to reach the last 8. I mean, as Buff Egan would say, sentence to deletion. Absolutely. That was a bad call. I didn't even think Galway would reach the last 8. I mean,
just don't see a world in which Kerry don't win this All-Ireland. I know I backed Mayo a couple of weeks ago and I felt like Mayo were the better team, but I feel like I might have started to curse them because as soon as I backed them, they lost 3 out of their next 4 games and a lot of their players got injured. So sorry about that one. It could be a Kerry and Mayo All-Ireland final, but the All-Ireland final, we always think that will happen, doesn't always seem to happen. You know, everyone thought it'd be Kerry Dublin last year and then it was Mayo Tyrone, but I just think Kerry surely. I mean, like, First of all, you've got the best player in the country in David Clifford, 528 this year, 522 from play, an extraordinary footballer, a freak of nature, let's be honest. But like, even if you mark him out of the game, you've then got Paul Ganey to step up, Tony Brosnan, Stephen O'Brien. You've got options coming off the bench like Killian Spillane, Darragh Moynihan, Jack Savage. These lads, like, so much players all across the pitch that can make such a big difference to this Kerry team. Their midfield looks good as ever in Diarmuid O'Connor and Jack Barry. They might have finally found a bit of shape in and around the middle. Still have Stefan O'Cumber maybe to come in there as well. Defensively, they look as good as ever. Maybe some questions around their goalkeeper, and obviously we've seen Jack O'Connor, the manager, rotate quite a bit. But defensively, they've improved hugely. I think 2 goals they conceded this year in the league. They're just not conceding that much. Defensively, they've improved in Jason Foley and Tyg Morley, Tom O'Sullivan, excellent. I just don't see how Kerry don't win it.
Yeah, so I backed Kerry and Mayo to reach the final, and I did back Kerry to win the All-Ireland, so thankfully enough we got that prediction right. Definitely over-predicted Mayo ever so slightly in thinking that they would reach an All-Ireland final. I've no idea where I came up with that one, to be honest. Yeah. So anyway, in terms of the prediction score, I'm up to 19 out of 32 predictions correct, so just a little bit over halfway. But I suppose now we have the Tailteann Cup. So what were my predictions there? Who did I predict to win to get to the final, and who did I predict to win it? So there we go then. I predicted Cavan and Westmeath to reach the final, so I got that one correct. But I did predict Cavan to win it. So yeah, unfortunately my family relations in Westmeath wouldn't have been too impressed with that one, and certainly were giving me a bit of stick over the weekend just gone. But look, in the end I predicted Cavan and Westmeath to get to the final. Obviously Westmeath won it, so we got 2 out of 3 predictions right there. I mean, not the worst, I suppose you could say. It brings me up to 21 predictions correct out of 35.
So that's going to be the end of the video, lads. Cheers anyone who tuned in. My camera cut out after this, actually, which is, very frustrating, because we didn't have any hurling predictions or reaction to my hurling predictions in the end. But we will do a separate video for that. I think this video has been long enough anyway. So yeah, look, cheers anyone who tuned in. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more content coming soon. And cheers anyone who tuned in, and I'll see you all later.